I think everybody knows who Vanilla Ice is. He's the guy who makes the song Ice Ice Baby.
And if you really know Vanilla Ice...
There was a time in the early 90s when it was him and MC Hammer going head to head for who's like the top rapper at the time, as far as like mainstream appeal is concerned. And this is a movie that just tried to capitalize on the success of Ice Ice Baby. I don't think that it worked.
You don't personally think, or you know for a fact? Facts state it definitely didn't work.
It got bashed, it made no money, no one liked this movie when it came out. But watching it back with nostalgia goggles, it's a different story. I think if all critics started watching it right now, they would have loved it. So we're gonna talk about everything, we're gonna break it down. This is gonna be full of spoilers, and we're just gonna talk about the craziness that is Vanilla Ice's movie, Cool as Ice. This movie opens up with a music video, just as you would expect from anything featuring Vanilla Ice, because that's the draw. Just people in crazy outfits, jumping around in darkness with like one light on.
Yeah, in a warehouse. Everything was always like in a warehouse.
Oh, it had to be. It goes on for arguably too long as the credits come in and they stack names in such a way that you can see ice in them, which was absolutely hilarious.
And then you get the lead up to our 90s babe, slipping that number, Monique, Vanilla Ice.
And then him and his crew get on their motorcycles and they're just cruising. For some reason, they're like, it looks like they're in the middle of the country, but I don't know what kind of weird warehouse they were doing their rap music in. But he sees a woman on a horse, he's like, oh, I have to impress her. Check this out. And he jumps over the fence, scares the horse, knocks her off of the horse, and thinks this is the best way to approach a woman. And then she punches him in the stomach, and he's like, hey, see you later.
Not even just, hey, see you later. He drops like a classic 90s line. It's like,
yeah, you hit pretty good for a girl.
Their motorcycle breaks down and they just show up to these old people's home as if you're supposed to know that they're supposed to be there to get the bike fixed. It's the weirdest house ever. This is the most 90s house. There's globes on the outside. Everything's different colors. They immediately just like hand over this guy's bike.
Y'all can fix these?
My God, when we get through with those wheels, you won't even know they're yours.
Now they have to live in suburbia to wait for the bike to get fixed, which coincidentally, Kat, our horseback rider, lives across the street.
And we get probably the most epic of like meet cutes. After the horse one, of course. Vanilla Ice strolls up.
What the hell is that?
And he just like asks her name.
Kathy. Kat.
I'm coolin'.
We're wasting his time.
Oh no, you're not wasting my time. I'm just cooling.
And he's like, see you later, dick.
It's Nick. Oh yeah, Nick.
And just like the shots just hang on Vanilla Ice as he's like trying to be the coolest guy. And it's so stupid, but amazing.
He is the coolest guy because he also drops those zingers where it's like, yo.
Drop that zero and get with the hero.
A little foreshadowing in there. He ends up being the hero.
He is the hero. You look at that guy with his crazy ass coat, which is the coolest coat, but not as cool as his hair. He's got zigzags in one side, he's got a brick wall with something else on the other side. Oh my God, this guy is the definition of cool in 1991. I also had my hair shaved at various points because of this. I even got ice in the back.
That I remember like getting things sketched in the back of your head.
And it's because of Vanilla Ice. He was the OG influencer for 90s kids. Vanilla Ice has had like a really weird career path where he has his own like home show. I don't know if it's still going on, but it was for a while. He was like a juggalo for a long time.
Didn't he go to the Amish? Wasn't that a thing too?
I hope so.
You better believe it. I'm going Amish.
But back to the movie, after he basically introduces himself as if he's known Kathy his whole life. He literally just met her.
And you two know each other?
No.
Oh yeah.
She is immediately swooned. She loves this guy, and he's like, I'm gonna be down the street. Holla at me. I'll come by later or something. He does. He comes by.
Yo, what's up, man?
and she's not there. But her kid brother loves Vanilla Ice. So he's like, yeah, they're down at the Sugar Shack. And then here comes the incoming swerve plot line. We've got like they look like mobsters.
Yeah, like loan sharks. They look like trouble, but not like the kind of trouble you would really be intimidated by.
They're just like a couple goons looking for some money. We will talk about this right now just so we can get it out of the way, because they slow drip this little information. It drives you nuts throughout the whole movie. Basically, the dad and mom are on witness protection. Dad was a cop back in his day. He put away another fellow cop for doing something. These other two guys went down for 20 years for whatever happened, and they want $500,000 in 24 hours. You better get it to them or they're gonna kidnap one of your kids.
For all you Tremors fans out there, Michael Gross is the father. Probably the most notable actor in this film. You wouldn't recognize him without the mustache.
And somebody else I didn't recognize is Naomi Campbell, was right at the beginning. Anyway, we go to the Sugar Shack.
The Sugar Shack is not what you expected. I expected
Diner.
Diner, 100%. Yeah. It is like worse than a shack.
It's just like a bunch of nerds hanging out. Just listen to
this. That's not
band.
why it's worse. I'm saying the building is worse.
Okay, yeah. The building looks like a roadhouse. But there's a bunch of nerds in there listening to some crazy music, which is cool. I'm not calling them nerds. That's what they look like. And doesn't Vanilla Ice like, oh, I'm gonna impress Kathy. She's here. She's with her Zero. I'm the hero. Unplugs the band's equipment, plugs in his own stuff.
Drop it.
He does like a full-on performance, and the song sucks.
Better rhymes than these. I'm bringing sucker MCs down to their knees.
It wasn't mixed properly. It just sounded really bad.
I wanna thank you. Just thank you, baby.
But it caught the attention of Kat. She comes over and he basically starts dry humping her on the floor, which was wild because Nick's like, excuse me, what the fuck is happening here?
I am happy to see that all of like the nerds dance.
Oh, they were busting moves. After the whole dance thing, Kat is now hot and heavy for Vanilla Ice, as if she wasn't already. The moment she met him, she loved him. And it's just kind of weird because she had a boyfriend and immediately she's like, I don't like my boyfriend anymore. Just so happens that there's this new guy in town. Her boyfriend, Nick, is a complete jerk. He wanted to drink and drive. Kat was like, no way, Jose. She just decides to walk home. So there's like a street cleaner. Well, she's spraying water and she doesn't give a shit. And it has to shut off the water, pass by, and turn the water back on. Anyway, those goons that we saw from earlier are stalking her, ready to scoop her up. And in comes V-Ice on his little motorcycle, pops her on the back and is like, let's go. He saved her life.
So then brings up the debate of whether he was stalking her from behind the people, because he was like,
Yo, who the hell was that back there?
he must have been trailing behind the car, like going super slow.
There is a whole weird thing about this because Vanilla Ice is definitely just stalking this girl. Because the next day, she wakes up with drips of water in her mouth. It's like, what's going on? And he just jams an ice cube in her mouth.
We don't want to wake up mom and dad.
He broke into her house, put ice in her mouth, and laid on the bed. And she's like, oh, hey, how's it going? Like, what are you doing?
Her brother knew what was going on, and he approved it.
Where you guys are done banging, I want to go on a motorcycle.
Is that your bike out front?
Yeah, you ever been on one? You will.
As soon as you're done making sex?
Kat's basically just like, hey, where's my organizer? Because apparently he had stolen the organizer before this.
Which, yeah, we don't know.
It doesn't show that.
Just like I found it. Excuse me. Like I stole.
And somehow she also pickpocketed his ID.
Yeah.
And knew of Monique, who was like the singer from the beginning. And they're just like, well, that was insurance because I wanted my organizer back.
Well, how else can I make sure I got my stuff back?
This is like 45 minutes into the film, and we finally learned what Vanilla Ice's character's name was.
I mean, this is you, isn't it? John Van Owen.
Because up until this moment, no one ever called him anything.
No.
You just assumed like his name was Vanilla Ice.
Yeah.
But it's Johnny.
But she likes the guy. You can't deny it. Like, the guy's got a jawline that's crazy. There's no way you're not liking this guy. He's cool as hell.
It's cool as ice.
I'll see you later.
You seeing me now?
Dad thinks that he's working with the bad guys because when he was asking for the Sugar Shack like directions, Dad saw him talking to them, so he thinks like he's a troublemaker and he's involved in all of this.
Because Dad knows who the guys are.
But Kat and Johnny decide to like go out into the desert. They go to an unfinished home and they just like start running around like it's a fucking jungle gym. Then they kiss a little bit because she wants to try something a little new.
Sometimes I'd like to do something really wild just because I never have.
And then they go and hang out in the desert. They just like kiss on a motorcycle. Well, Vanilla Ice sometimes jumps in slow motion and grabs his toes, like just doing all types of moves in the desert for absolutely no reason. Like you could tell that the director does commercials or music videos and stuff like that, and when you look him up, yep, that's basically his whole catalog. I forgot to talk about the music video aspect. When we first meet the family,
yeah,
it is
like
trippy as hell. It looks like it's straight from MTV. It's so crazy.
And meanwhile, the bike is still not fixed at Pee-wee's Playhouse, and we're getting hilarious montage moments with the VIP and the mechanics, which I think was a nice touch. I think for the kids watching it, they probably appreciated that.
Even if you didn't care about like the romance aspect, just as a kid, there's a lot of fun things to look at. But finally, these guys, they're like, we're coming and we're gonna steal somebody.
We're friends of your father's, son. We've just come by from work to pick up some important papers.
And like, this is where Kat and Johnny need to like part ways. This is where they have their like Romeo and Juliet moment. It's like the dad's like, you can't see him. Me and your mother have different names. We're in the witness protection program, and
Johnny just beat up some guys at the bar the other day.
So what's up, fellas? Yo, look who's here.
Dad is already like pissed about this guy because he thinks he's working with the criminals. And yeah, you just have sad boy Vanilla Ice. Kat is also sad because like they can't be together.
This is where you just like really want like the love of Johnny and Kat to get back together because you know he's such a good guy.
The parents come home and they're like, wait, where's the kid?
Where's Tommy?
And Vanilla Ice has picked up a cassette tape that was left on the front porch that was Tommy's like ransom, just saying like, hey, like I'm kidnapped, come help me.
Like this is for you. Like not saying like I found this on the front porch, like literally like a gift.
It looks like he's serving him this, like, I have your kid.
Here it is for you.
Kat comes over, she's like, you gotta listen to this. My brother is in danger.
You need a psychiatrist.
And it starts showing the volume waves on the cassette player, and because they're musicians, it plays a whole thing where they're like, listen to the background, I can hear this beat. And it's like the same pounding of like the construction tools or whatever from the home that they went to with Kat.
The construction site.
Yes.
And they head off with their motorbikes because the motorcycle's fixed now. It's time to get to work. We need to save little Tommy. This kind of goes on for a little bit, but the climax comes and goes super quickly because the bad guys are just sitting there with the tied up kid, and in comes a motorcycle through the wall. Everybody just storms in. They start kicking everybody. There's a little bit of an action sequence. The kid is rescued, and basically these guys are just tied to the car. The cops show up and everything's gravy. And we get our little final showdown between Nick and Vanilla Ice as he's got the girl now on the back because it's time to G.O.
So what are you gonna do, college girl?
Well, you know, college doesn't start tonight. Smart ass.
Then let's G.O.
It closes with him like jumping off the vet.
Yeah, Nick's Corvette. It was great.
The movie's not that long, and if you cut out the music videos, it would be very short. Like there's at least 3 full times where it seemed like music videos. Or maybe even 5 times actually, 3 of which were music videos for Vanilla Ice, some of which was just like random B-roll with a whole song playing. It is a really fun movie because there's so much wackiness going on. There's random side plots. The story doesn't necessarily matter too much. It's very basic. It is just so fun. Just like the way that they talk is hysterical.
And I feel people take this movie too seriously. That, I think, is the issue. I think this was just intended to be a like marketing tool for Vanilla Ice.
Of course, yeah. But it is funny when you look at the trivia, the amount of people that turned down the main role of Kathy, like crazy names.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Kristen Minter did a good job as Kathy, but to see Courtney Cox, fresh off of like Masters of the Universe, I think she would have did a great job like as Vanilla Ice's counterpart.
Well, Minter was fresh off of Home Alone, which was a banger too, so it's not necessarily a huge fail, but there is a big question mark here. Why did like 30 popular actresses turn down this role?
Were they scared of an MTV movie? Because Vanilla Ice was at the peak of popularity. No one should want to turn down a role with Vanilla Ice at this time. Yet, people did.
And there's nothing like scandalous or offensive or anything like that. Like, it was a pretty wholesome movie, all things considered. I just don't understand why it was panned by critics and why people didn't want to be involved with it and why nobody talks about it. The odd person might tweet something about this movie, but like I don't hear enough talk about it considering how hilarious it is.
You can't put anything together until you take it apart.
Can you put it back together with quickness?
This is worth a watch.
It is just so fun just going back and experiencing the crazy colors, the weird editing, and only in like some scenes. The inconsistency is hysterical. The fact that these guys are just staying at that random house for no reason, the old couple, the crew, like everything is just so enjoyable.
Looky, 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 and cat's black and bookie.
I would highly recommend it. So I'm gonna give this 3 oversized salt and pepper shakers out of 5.
It should be no surprise. I recommend this movie. Definitely check it out. It's a lot more fun than you would imagine, but I can see where the hate comes. So that being said, I'm gonna give this film 3.5 Vanilla Ice parkour stunts out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, link is in the description. And recommend some other like crazy 90s movies that we need to watch that potentially have rappers as the leads because I'm interested. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay up to date with everything here on Bloodbath TV.
Hey, yo, I'm out of here. Where you going? Across the street to Sling a Schlong.